أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشروا بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغن عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to the realest podcast in the dunya, the three Muslims. Today, we are finally doing it. We are finally doing a red pill call-in show. So without further ado, inshallah, let me bring up the home base. All right. I think you guys are live. Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, bro. I heard you saying I'm going to bring up the homie.
The home base.
Home base, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Did you full screen us, bro?
Yes, you are the biggest on the screen right now.
Alhamdulillah. Because I don't want people seeing your contacts on the left, bro.
Don't worry.
How you doing today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing good.
Oh no, bro, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, Rami, so do you want to go over a little bit about the purpose of today's stream?
Yeah, the purpose of today's stream is just to have
Anghel, do you mind muting yourself?
Huh?
Anghel, can you mute yourself?
I don't think it's
Yeah, it's him, bro.
Okay. The purpose of the stream today is to have a real discussion about red pill. Red pill is something that has invaded the minds of a lot of young men, similar to feminism invading the minds of a lot of young women. So, inshallah, we don't want to, attack or go at anybody in any negative way. We just want to have a proper discussion. So we invite all red pillars. We have had some very loud in the comments before, extremely loud, insufferably loud for some reason. So we invite you guys now to come join us.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. This guy says Rami has a new
And
setup
guys,
every month.
boys, this is not gonna be a debate, all right? But this is just gonna be us exchanging ideas and trying to establish truth.
It's not going to be a debate. It's going to be a decimation. That's what it's going to be.
There you go. It's gonna be a dismantlement.
Dismemberment.
Intellectual, subservient, ideologically molested, pusillanimity. I don't even, bro, half the words he says, it generally, like, I gotta Google what they mean.
You and me both, man. Don't worry. There's a
Next
little...
time I get Muhammad Hijab on a stream or in person, I'm gonna look him, bro, and I'm gonna ask him a very interesting question. I'm gonna be like, you know that quote where it's like, those that are the smartest use like the fewest words and they're like the simplest in speech. What do you think about that? And I just genuinely want to see what he says, bro, because he's such an intellectual beast, bro. I love him about it.
He's gonna say an idiot made that up. An idiot made that rule up. But I think there's an echo on your end.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, since I can't really fix that right now, and it might be too last minute, I will mute my mic unless I'm speaking. Okay.
Okay. No worries, inshallah. So, we had a contingency plan. We had a plan Z. We had a plan in case everything else went to hell. And that plan is just to dismantle red pill, even if no one shows up for the call-in, even if nobody wants to debate us, even if they're too pusillanimous to engage with us on this ideological discussion, this philosophical discussion. Then we will still do it regardless. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, Fide, what is red pill? I think we should define that. We should discuss it, and we had a discussion, I think, in Banff a few years ago about it. So I think the realest explanation you can give is probably the one you just gave me a few years ago when we first spoke about it.
Bro. Okay, cool. So due to the echo, if you can mute yourself too, and we'll just go in with that. So the best definition of red pill that I can give you guys is that there is none. There's no concrete definition for something that is not divinely ordained. Because if you ask what, having intimacy with kids are to someone who's a P, they're going to say, oh, it's okay. It's love. Love is love, whatever. But if you ask it to somebody like us, we're going to say, no, it's not okay. So no two people will have the same definition from something based on subjective morality, something that we have created or we have perceived with our own limited desires and intellect. But when it comes to something objective, then there is an objective definition for these things, right? And I don't want you guys going nitty gritty with this, like, oh, no two people can disagree on like a mathematical law or something like that. I get that, but I'm talking about things that are ideologies, things that are man-made. Red Pill, simply put, is a reactionary movement founded by frustrated men that have gotten the short end of the stick after feminism. There is no other way to put it. Feminism itself is a reactionary movement to genuine misogyny. So I want you guys to understand that this whole thing that society says, oh, this is misogyny, Muslim men are misogynistic, that's BS. All right? If you want to, as a man, have authority over your women, you want to protect your women, you don't want them being out on the streets, so to speak, and you have protective jealousy given to you by Allah, and you're a man, don't let anybody else tell you that you're misogynistic at all. What genuine misogyny is a hatred towards women, is believing that they have less rights in the eyes of Allah. And Allah says in the Quran that no Muslim is better than another Muslim except by deeds alone. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your sex is, it doesn't matter what your race is, what your ethnicity is, what you come from in your jahiliyyah. What matters is what you're going to do with the rest of your life. So I want to make it very clear that Islam views men and women as both equally potential or potential to earning the love of Allah. However, in society, it's different, right? In pre-Islamic Arabia, men were burying their daughters alive for many reasons. One of the reasons was that, they could not provide and protect value that a man can. If you're going to limit a woman to her ability to perform as a man, if that's not misogyny, I don't know what is. Matter of fact, genuine feminism today is genuine misogyny, because they're equating the ability of a woman to act like a man. And if she can't, then all of a sudden she's not independent, she's not strong, she's not this. What type of backwards nonsense is this, bro? So men are supposed to be men and women are supposed to be women. But if you equate a woman by her ability to act like a man, that is genuine misogyny. Do you get what I mean? So there was genuine misogyny, as in women were expected to basically work and maintain the house and be a good lover and have a kid, which, how are you going to expect that, bro? That makes no sense. No woman can do that. And generally, women were viewed as less in the eyes of God. Matter of fact, if you look at many passages in the Bible and in the New Testament, some of the things are horrendous, bro. They're disgusting. I'm not even going to go into that. But the church was basically the dominant figure, I guess, producing the society that we have in the West once upon a time. So there was genuine misogyny, which over time, when you have society pushing towards one direction, you have this almost slingshot compensatory mechanism. It's just the way the universe works, and it goes the other way. So then you have women that are now frustrated, and it started the feminist movement. They wanted equal rights to vote. They wanted equal rights to even humanity, which we believe, of course, they should have equal right to humanity. They wanted equal rights to many other things in the first wave. So that's not as problematic. When you look at the second wave, it's like, okay, that's a little weird. The third wave, it's like, now it's like women want the ability to be higher than men under the veil of being equal. They want to exploit men, and women are absolved of any responsibility. That's not okay. So that genuine misogyny has led to what's called genuine misandry, a despising or hatred of men towards women. And when you have that, what do you think is going to happen again? Right? Every extreme will birth another extreme. That basically formed a lot of simps, a lot of people that were blue pilled, so to speak, a lot of people that, gave their all to a woman that ain't whatever, she wasn't worth anything. And after that, they kind of realized, you know what, maybe everything I've been told by society is wrong. Maybe all this blue pill propaganda is wrong. Maybe everything they told me about, just be nice and women are, sweet and angelic and they can't do any wrong. These are lies, right? Because Islam never tells you that. Islam tells us, Rasulullah said every son of Adam is a sinner. The best of sinners are those that repent. How are we going to say that women are sinless? They're not. And how are we even going to say men are sinless? So at the end of the day, men got very frustrated with this. And they almost had this red pill or black pill awakening, where in the community they call that red pill rage. So they realized that, like everything I've been taught about women are wrong and being nice doesn't work. So now I gotta just, know my worth, and I gotta stand up for myself, which is fine in principle, right? Because no one's saying not to. You shouldn't have been doing that in the first place, bro. What are you, simp? But when you get to that point, you realize, like maybe doing one thing didn't work, so let me do the opposite. And that's where you get carried away with it. That's when you start, under the guise of standing up for yourself, you start just just being an ass, bro. I don't know how else to say it. You just start thinking that, you know what, the only way to win with women is to just bed them and then toss them to the side. You have a rotation, you don't have fulfilling relationships with women, and you will get success, bro. Doing that, you will get results. No one's saying you're not gonna get it. Matter of fact, women are easy, bro. But the thing is, those red pill tactics and gimmicks only work on low quality women. Because this was something we talked about on an episode that we did with Hamza. He's like a big self improvement YouTuber, and we were talking about red pill and Islam. And this is gonna be the last point before I put the mic back to you. Hamza said that if the type of woman that you have gets attracted to you when you don't text her back, that should tell you something about the type of quality of the woman that you're with. Like, do you get what I mean? And this doesn't mean like women don't find these things conventionally attractive in men. But if you only do red pill cheat codes and gimmicks and nonsense, and you act hard to get and all this BS that red pill teaches you, and it gets you women, are those really the women that you want? And a lot of men will admit this. Myron from Fresh and Fit and many other red pill YouTubers will admit this. They'll say that no, there's wifey material quality girls, and then there's these types of girls that you just use for recreational purposes only. But then it kind of goes into the problem of it. Like, you're creating more recreational use girls by using girls recreationally. And that's not going to create a society where there's a solution, where there's more wifeable girls. So the red pill in and of itself it's like a circular reasoning. It's like you create more problems than you're actually solving. And the worst thing you can do as a man is just talk without taking action.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think those are great points. And unfortunately, they don't really care about solving any issues. And you will hear red pillars say, like, feminism is here. Women are just this way and that's it. It hasn't always been here. They haven't always been this way. What kind of, pessimistic, nihilistic mindset is this? Like, you just give up, that's it. Khalas, okay, everything sucks, so I'm just gonna waste my life away and sleep with this, that, and the other, and then drink this, and just make money and then die. Like, that's all life is to you. That's borderline nihilism, right? Hedonism, I think, is borderline nihilism. And once you realize these things don't really make you happy anymore, boom, you're nihilistic. Nothing's good or bad or matters to you anymore. And that's why black pill exists as well. Yeah, there's red pill, blue pill, black pill. Shooter refers to Islam as a green pill, alhamdulillah. And so many pills nowadays, man, or another pharmaceutical company. But it's funny because in red pill, you'll find that they don't even have concrete definitions. Ask them to define red pill. They'll just say it's some kind of praxeology. What does it entail? Well, it depends. It depends on what? Well, I mean, some people think this, some people... Okay, so... Oh, sorry, Fight. Can you mute yourself, bro? All right. So people are like... Basically, red pill is how the left tries to define a woman nowadays. It's whatever they think red pill is. Or the girls who are like, I'm a 10 out of 10. If everyone's a 10 out of 10, then there's no 10. So if anyone can define it how they want, there's no definition. But we do have some people in the waiting room. Inshallah, I'm going to bring them up. Tamim, Habibi, I don't know if you're still with us, but I'm going to... Oh yeah, I see you are. Do you wanna vet the people in the waiting area, Tamim? I mean, we've had them on before, so they're chill. I'm just going to bring in our good friend, Muslim TomCruise.
Hey, what's up, Rami? How's life? How's the vibe? I'm sorry. How's everything? Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, tamam, I'm good, bro. How are you?
Obviously, we can't ask questions about Christianity and other things, right? We can only ask questions about the red pill, right?
That's the goal. To keep it towards red pill.
100%. So, my question is going to be in relation to basically, I was debating feminists, right? Okay. So, atheistic feminists. So they asked me basically, your religion is just basically like the red pill religion, basically, like because you have 4 wives in Islam. So, so they said basically that your religion is like a man hating, like a woman hating religion, basically, and that's why red pillers basically become Muslims, so, because they want to marry 4 wives in Islam. So I was like, and I gave them the arguments for Islam, like basically about these things, how it helps women, how polygyny actually helps women, facilitates them, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I provide my evidences and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
So everything was perfect, by the way. In the end, everything was perfect. They got all the answers and so on and so forth. My question is going to be in relation to, like, the previous question that I asked before is going to be, let's say if a woman says, if a man can get basically 4 wives, why can a woman get basically 4 men, right? And I mean, I can talk about these things. If a woman basically sleeps with multiple men in history, as long till now, yeah, she's called a you know what. And if a man basically allows his woman to sleep with multiple men, then basically he's called a you know what. Okay? So you can see that basically there's like this natural, basically our disgust against these kind of things. There's also, as you mentioned, there's something called maid guarding, and also there's something called sperm competition. Are you hearing my voice? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
bro.
okay, so there's sperm competition and there's also maid guarding. So I want to ask you, is sperm competition different to maid guarding, or are they like they fall under the like the same category?
They're interrelated, bro. They're very interrelated, but those two pale in comparison to the real, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the ultimate reason against polyandry and to promote polygyny, which is assurance of paternity. So in the Quran, as Muslims, we understand Allah telling us the virtues behind lineage and assuring lineage. And modern science has even affirmed that with scientific literature showing that men and women that are fatherless, they don't know who the father is. This is a huge problem, bro. It's one of the leading causes in suicide. It's in one of the lead. I just got the video demonetized. It's one of the leading causes of men that commit crimes. It's one of the leading causes of aggression. It's one of the leading causes of substance addiction. Many things. I can go on all day. So we know that knowing who the father is super important, bro. And when you have in Islam polygyny that is not promoted in the sense that it's fard, right? But it's an option. If you have one man with multiple women, everyone knows who the mother is because it came out of the respective woman, right? This is something that women don't rationalize because they'll never have to worry if they're the mother. It's impossible because the baby, of course, came out of them. But for a man, he'll never know. He'll never really know. And I know they have paternity tests, but you'll never really know without that, right? It's the way that things have been done traditionally. So because of that, if you have polygyny, everyone knows who the father is because it's just one man, right? And if you have, multiple women, everyone knows who the mother is. If you have polyandry, one woman with multiple men, you're never gonna know because of what you said, the sperm competition and mate guarding. You'll never know who the real father is, and based on that, you're not gonna know who gets inheritance, like Allah wants to ensure in the Quran with our commandments and our rulings. You'll never know who gets more rights and entitlement. You'll never know if that's your kid or your co-husband. Even that term is just a astaghfirullah even saying that, but you'll never know if it's your co-husband's kid. So it causes more problems than it actually solves. And women don't really, if she's okay in the head, they don't really want to be with multiple men. They want to be with the highest value man that they can find, and then they'll settle with that and they'll submit to that. And they
Because
want
they
to,
simply
yeah,
because they simply satisfy their hypergamy and so on and so forth. I completely get that, yeah.
yeah.
But in terms of sperm competition and maid guarding being I know they fall under the same category. Can you like give me an explanation regarding? I mean, I can also look these things up, but is it possible for you to like give me an explanation? I know you might not be in contact with these things because this is a very specific subject. But
Yeah, so I read this book, bro, called Sperm Wars, and it went in depth into sperm competition based on like evolutionary biology, not in like the shirky sense, but like microevolution, like the recent sense. And simply put, sperm competition is basically where the highest value male, or i.e., the gamete, the sperm will basically impregnate the woman. Mate guarding is simply just behavioral. It's not actual mechanical. Mate guarding are mechanisms that men have to basically limit their woman from being pregnant by other men in the first place. So this is also concordant with ghaira, a trait that Allah Himself subhanahu wa ta'ala has, and Allah has given us this divine trait, not in the same comparable sense to Him, but we as men have ghaira. We either suppress it based on society shaming us, or we lie to ourselves, or we are programmed, or somewhat. And every man has this protective jealousy over his womenfolk, being territorial, being jealous, not wanting other men to be near or with their wives and interacting with them unnecessarily. And this is simply put, this is what mate guarding is.
thank you so much, because I wanted to confirm this. Like, so sperm competition is basically, yeah, the more boxes you tick, let's say you're 6 foot, you make a lot of money, you also have a good personality, you also have a muscular body, and so on and so forth. So the more boxes you tick, the better your basically your value. Let's say, the better your chances of basically winning the sperm competition, right? Is basically right. The more your marriage market basically. Having having a higher marriage market value or sexual market value is going to increase your chances of winning the sperm competition. Let's say for this specific woman, right? That's basic, because when people think about sperm competition, they think about you understand, like they think about it inside. When the sperms are moving, they think about these things. Yeah, yeah, that's the. So I completely get that. Yeah, and mate guarding is something that is behavioral that you can also see in animals and so on and so forth. But thank you so much for that explains seriously, guys. Yeah, that was all my main question was basically something else, but this was I need to clarify this. But thank you so much, seriously. Yeah, and sperm boards definitely.
Yeah, of course, bro.
Yeah.
I'm here. I do want to add one quick thing too. We got to be
sure.
very careful where we take our knowledge from in the sense
Yeah.
that using kafir studies. So many of these sperm competition studies on gametes, they were done on animals. So basically what they found was when you have a chimpanzee with a woman, or no, like a female chimpanzee, it will basically have a certain amount of ejaculatory volume. If that male chimpanzee knows that that woman has been with another male recently, it will have an increased ejaculatory seminal volume, basically showing that it wants to kind of flush out all the other ones and kind of compete with that. Now, are you going to now take animal studies and project that onto humans? And that's just a question that I want you guys to think about. And then furthermore, are you going to take kafir studies and project it onto Muslims? Because as Muslims, I would agree that perhaps you would have less ejaculatory volume because this type of dayuth behavior might turn you off. So I don't know. So I'm saying like you have to think where you take your knowledge from. And I don't want you guys to just get carried away with taking studies as haq.
Yeah. But so there's a lot of strong points in the background that I haven't shared right now because there's a very I had to be very specific over here for a very short amount of time. But thank you so much, guys, for this knowledge and elements. Thank you so much, guys. All right, take care, man. All right, take care.
Assalamu alaikum, bro. Is it just me or I felt like man was speaking in 2x speed?
Yeah. May Allah bless him.
May Allah bless him, bro.
Future Muslim Chad, inshallah. That's quite the name.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. What's going on?
I mean, I'm preparing for some exams. It's the summer, so it's a bit complicated,
May Allah grant you success, my man.
I mean,
all right. So what brings you on?
I think the topic you're talking about is very important. Red pill, especially considering I'm like a teenager. I think many guys my age talking about this topic. And they're going crazy for it. But like when you step back, you realize that it's in a way you're just worshiping your desires, because the end goal for all this self-improvement, for all this narrative, is to get validation from women, from people around you. You don't really do it for yourself, let's say. Even like for a Christian, or for an atheist rather, he's just not doing it for himself. He's just doing it for others. For Muslim, your goal would be to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that completely opposes it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. To be honest, when we said we were doing a call-in show, we wanted people who disagreed with us. Not people who, can perfectly summarize our position in a few minutes. Because then there's no real discussion. But barakallahu fikum, bro. You're absolutely right.
Barakallahu fikum, bro. Jazakallah khair for that. It was a very excellent reminder, bro, akhi, because many people don't do things for the sake of Allah. And at the end of the day, we know that Allah tells us that if you love a thing, it might actually be bad for you. And if you hate a thing, it might actually be good for you. So we don't know and Allah knows. So at the end of the day, if we don't put Allah first and do what's right, not just what's easy and pleasurable all the time, then we're going to put ourselves in positions where we do things to feel that, because we all want to feel good. You're either going to feel good as a byproduct of obeying Allah, or you're going to feel good with cheap thrills. And red pill, at least this whole pump and dump type of taking women casually and being a zani, this stuff, it'll give you temporary bliss, but then long term, it's kind of going to eat away at your soul. And you're sinning, not to mention. So at the end of the day, why not just obey Allah and feel pleasure as a byproduct of that? And the sweetness of iman, I would argue, is much better than anything, any drug, any woman can ever give you.
Yeah, definitely. So it's always a continuous fight. You always have to remind yourself that everything you're doing is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for the sake of people. Sometimes, like you say that, yeah, I'm definitely doing this for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but when you step back, you realize that there's some kind of, there's usually some influence from people, so you always have to remind yourself, inshallah, to have the right intention. So, assalamu alaikum. I have to leave, guys.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaykum
Barakallahu
salam wa
fikum. May
rahmatullahi
Allah
wa
subhanahu wa ta'ala bless
barakatuh.
you.
I mean,
All right, bismillah. So there were a few people in the comments who didn't exactly disagree, just kind of took a different approach. So if you guys would like to hop on, please do. I think the guy's name was Nomad or something like that, but I do want to address it. So basically, he mentioned that in regards to the last discussion on like sperm competition and all that stuff, he asked like, where is this explanation like in the Quran, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ? We're not saying that this is the reason, or amongst the reasons that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited it, or prohibited something like red pill or whatever red pill preaches. That's not the claim, and even if that was the claim, it's not necessarily wrong to try and derive wisdoms, right? We can see wisdoms behind it. If you go to a doctor and the doctor says you're sick, take this pill, are you gonna ask the doctor where's taking pills in the Quran and the Sunnah? Obviously not, because doctors have a place in Islam. Experts have a place in Islam to discuss these things and to say you should or shouldn't do X, Y, Z, and then they're accountable as well. So although the best explanation always should be and is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the Almighty, All-Wise, and He allows this and prohibits this, that I think that's the best answer. That's not always going to do it for everyone. Some people would call it some like God of the gaps thing or some lazy argumentation. And by the way, let me add, anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to do is going to be best, because Allah is the most wise, and wisdom in Arabic is defined as putting something where it belongs. So if Allah gave us a ruling that actually should not belong in our life because we're designed in a different way, where that thing is actually not good for us or not beneficial or not whatever, then that would be unwise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that doesn't make any sense. So it only makes the most sense that Allah created us in a specific way and prescribed rulings that perfectly accommodate the way He created us, and that He did not contradict Himself in any way. So that's my thoughts on it. If you want to hop on, please do, inshallah. You are invited. We have a few people. Well, there's one guy, he just left. I don't know where he went, but if you disagree, please come back, inshallah, so we can chat. Also, Fayed, I'm gonna leave you with the mic for a second. I'm just gonna go put my coffee and be back.
alhamdulillah. I'm gonna do my best to address some of the things in the chat. I will not be able to, unfortunately, pull up the chat because I'm not the one running the Discord server. Rami is, and he's no longer here because he needs his caffeine fix. So I will go over some of these comments and then go over them, inshallah. So if you have any, okay. So Sam, Fayed, why are you wearing Tommy Hilfiger? Sis, why are you commenting about me wearing Tommy Hilfiger? Like, just genuinely. So Craig Jim writes, during the time of Prophet ﷺ, it was a time of war, not men marrying multiple women for different flavors. Okay, so this is an argument that I hear very often, and it's like polygyny must serve a purpose, right? As in and i.e. the purpose has to be for like a widow or a single mother, a divorcee, for orphans, for women that are impoverished, right? Tell me where in Islam it says that, just genuinely. And majority of scholars that I follow, and not just I follow, but majority of scholars, period, that I've researched on, the consensus is that polygyny is permissible, obviously assuming that you're going to practice it properly. You're going to give them all their rights. You're going to try to be fair to them and be as equal as you can with them. And Allah already tells us in the Quran that you'll never be able to be perfectly equal, but you do it to the best of your abilities. And you don't, disown any of their rights from any of your wives. And that's it. Simple. If it helps you lower your gaze and not slip into zina, which is obligatory for men, it's permissible. Who said it can't be for fulfilling sexual desires and making them more manageable, more, I guess, in control, more tamed? Nobody said this. This is a postmodern, I guess you'll see a lot of these modern imams saying that, but no, it's not just because of having a widow or for, whatever. That is a virtuous reason for doing so. Matter of fact, that's why polygyny was more commonplace back then, because there were less men for the women that were there to take care of them, to provide and protect. But if it helps you lower your gaze and it helps you, you know, fulfill and control your desires, it's not impermissible because of that.
So what was the
Chad
discussion?
writes, so it was just these comments say that polygyny was meant to be for only like, you know, providing and protecting for women that get short end of the stick and they're kind of left behind. And I'm like, bro, says who? Allah has made it permissible, simply put.
Yeah, that's not true at all.
Chad Ibn Based, I love that username. Allah Mubarak. You guys should talk more about black pill. We'll get into that, inshallah. Craig Jim writes, let's ask Mufti Menk about that and about today and polygamy and all that. See, bro, at the end of the day, we must understand one thing, and this is not you know, me coming at any sheikh or da'i or anything like that, but we must go to the Quran and Sunnah. If Mufti Menk tells you something that is in line with the Quran and Sunnah, alhamdulillah. If anybody tells you something that is in contravention to the Quran and Sunnah, then do your own research. Don't just trust any sheikh, right? And you're saying, let's ask Mufti Menk. Like, my question to you is, why do we have to ask Mufti Menk? These are not things that are you know, left to difference in opinion fuqaha today. They're not. If you're gonna ask, you know, let's ask a scholar about cryptocurrency because it's not in the Quran and Sunnah, alhamdulillah. But polygyny is in the Quran and Sunnah. Polygyny is something that is qat'i, it's clear cut. It's not something that we need to be left to speculation as human beings. Now, there's different concerns with polygyny, kind of like we need scholars today to basically look in the divorce courts. For example, a man practices polygyny in one way. Is it actually fair? Is it just? And based on that, the qadi, the judge, he'll give a
Qadi.
ruling.
Qadi, yeah.
Yeah, the qadi, he'll give a ruling. But it doesn't mean that to know if it's legitimate polygyny practiced properly, is it okay for just, you know, anything? No, of course. Polygyny is permissible in Islam, done properly, of course. This is common sense. That's like saying salah is fard, but obviously you're assuming it's done properly. Someone asked Fahd, why don't you practice polygyny? This is not a personal discussion. This is not like a get to know me, you know, get ready with me mukbang. We're talking like intellectually here.
Yeah. Also, people are focusing too much on polygyny. Why is this the only thing? And why are people trying to interrelate Islam and red pill just because they have this idea of one man and more than one woman? In other words, not strict monogamy. They're not compatible.
They're not.
Islam limits it to 4 wives who you have to take care of. That's not a red pill concept. Go in the freaking red pill books. Go read Rollo Tomasi and all these guys. See if they mention that you can only marry up to 4 women. They don't. So let's stop relating them like they're similar. They're not. They're very different. The reasons they you know, people would give, Muslims would give versus red pillars would give for why is different. A red pillar would say some garbage like, oh, well, high value man is allowed to because he's high value and, you know, he's able to and he should exercise that right and something stupid like that. Muslims will give a heap of reasons as to why. And also, Muslims marry. They're not allowed just to sleep around. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. There's a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people with opinions. I would love for you guys to come up and discuss with us.
Yeah, come on the stream.
I don't know if there are people in the waiting room. There's one person.
And I do want to add a point to Brother Rami's ideology on that. And it's spot on, bro. Allah Mubarak. When it comes to Islam, there's no degeneracy. Islam practiced correctly by Muslims. And Islam practiced incorrectly, I do want to add, is not even Islam at that point. It's just Muslims doing their ish. So Islam has no degeneracy. Red pill has degeneracy, absolute degeneracy. There is no picking and choosing. You can't say, oh, I'm going to pick some things and I'm not going to take some things. No, you either take it all as it is, like Islam, or you reject part of it. So you can't say, oh, because I'm a Muslim, I'm only going to follow these things in red pill. Then it's like, why are you even following something that it has its own deen? It has something that is in alignment with Islam, which shows that, of course, some things are half-truths, but then it has things that are lies. Why are you promoting something where laymen won't know where to draw the line? And having unrestricted sexual access to a bunch of women in red pill is not honorable like in Islam. It's degenerate, bro.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Jami asks, how do you call in?
Yeah, you just go to the link, the description, the Discord, join, and then towards the top, you'll see T3M call-in show. Go to the waiting area, inshallah, you should be able to be brought in. Tamim, please bring anyone who disagrees with our stance, if there is anyone who disagrees, into the call-in show, inshallah, whenever they're vetted and ready. I think in the meantime, it's important to discuss why red pill is... Sorry, Fayed, there's an echo. Fayed, there's an echo.
Can you ask me? I got you.
Jazakallah khair, bro. So yeah, it's important to define like why red pill is haram. Red pill, we say, is haram because it prescribes things and tells you to do things and tells you to believe and think things that are against what Allah revealed or what the Prophet ﷺ said. So for example, they'll tell you not to provide for women. Allah says in the Quran, men are protectors and maintainers of women. The financial burden, so to speak, which I hate calling it a burden, I think the financial responsibility is upon the man, not upon the woman. So that's just one example. Obviously, we spoke about sleeping around and having more than 4 who you're not even married with and doing one and dones and hookups and all this, nonsense, to be honest.
Yeah, so I did want to note on that in the red pill sphere, in the manosphere, it's called the beta male provider. So red pill will tell you that, and I've heard a lot of red pill coaches agree and disagree with this, but they'll mainly say that, don't simp for women, don't be paying their bills, don't be whatever. There's married red pill men saying that they do 50-50 marriages, bro. Listen, nothing will put a woman more in her feminine to be as loyal, submissive, obedient, and happily in her frame than you genuinely taking care of everything. And I don't mean this means like you need to make your life harder and we don't live in a 2-parent household with 2 incomes and capitalism and all this. I'm not denying this, but I'm saying if you can, why would you not? Number 1, Allah made a fard. Cool. At least Allah made a fard to be able to do so and not rely on the woman. Don't dispute on this. No one can dispute on this. Number 2, if you do it, it'll only make the woman more feminine. Why would you not want harmony? Why would you not want sync? So that's kind of one reason. I do want to say assalamu alaikum to the guest.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How you doing?
Alhamdulillah, brother. I'm doing good. I was actually one of the moderators that were supposed to help out, but I'll join in for the content, you know?
Jazakallah khair. Forgive me. Jazakallah khair, bro. I do want to bring in someone who disagrees, so let me just bring everyone in. We'll find who disagrees, and then I'll kick the rest out, inshallah, respectfully. Jazakallah khair for your work, bro. I appreciate your mod work. May Allah bless you. All right. So I can't see your full name, but C ... and then caterer. Do any of you or either of you disagree with something we've said so far?
Not at all. By the way, first and foremost, salamu alaikum to everyone here. But not at all. I completely agree. Red pill ideology should not correlate with Islam. If it doesn't agree with what Islam says, you shouldn't basically follow it at all, because it really is degeneracy. I like the point that you made, Rami, where you said, or I think it was Rami, I'm pretty sure, but one of you guys were saying that it was complete degeneracy. Like red pill ideology would have degeneracy, but Islam itself would not correlate with those degenerate ideologies. So I really strongly agree with that, and I feel like a lot of younger Muslims are looking up to this red pill ideology today and are overusing it, more than Islam. They're overlooking from the Quran, they're overlooking from our Hadiths that the Prophet ﷺ has made, and they're using red pill more as an ideology versus the tafsir and the Quran. So
I personally want to add on to that. I think it's more of the idea that it's like when someone comes to you with 2 truths and a lie, and what most people do is instead of accepting the lie and just taking what the truth is, people take the entire thing at once. And that's what's the problem with the red pill, is just because there's like 2 or 3 things that line up with Islam doesn't suddenly make the ideology valid when it comes to all the other garbage that they put on with it. And it's a really big problem when it comes to people finding the truth, not only with this, when people were trying to find Islam and trying to learn about Islam, or just general ideologies that aren't Islam, is that just because they have some truths to it, but the other stuff is a lie, suddenly doesn't make that idea a truth, or doesn't make that idea a reality. And that's what the problem with red pill generally is that just because they say, oh yeah, men should take care of women, they can't suddenly tack on like get a vasectomy at 20 and then reverse it 10 years later.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
very unlikely. By the way.
that was very insightful, bro. Sorry, Rami, go on.
No, I was just saying the vasectomy part. Even that is very unlikely to undo it 10 years later.
That's stupid, bro.
Yeah.
There's a book from Imam al-Jawzi, rahimahullah. It's called The Devil's Deception. At least that's the English translation. And when you really study it, the tricks that Shaitan uses, he uses the same type of tactics to come at you from different angles, but he'll never come at you with something that's pure lies, bro. He'll come at you with something that's kind of truthful and there's lies mixed into it, because if it's just pure lies, you're going to reject it, bro. Nobody in their right mind, and that's the caveat, nobody in their right mind would do anything that's just purely outlandish. But if something comes at you with veiled lies and there's a little bit of truth in it, bro, it's easy to do something like that. So that's why when I talked about the whole, the beta male provider, it's a big criticism of red pill that I have. And a lot of, men fall for that because they're like, oh, I don't want to be taken advantage of. I shouldn't be a simp. Well, that's true. You shouldn't be taken advantage of. But then you shouldn't be spending your resources on women that you just met overnight. But on your wife, bro, how are you not going to spend money on the mother of your kids? So that is number one. Number two is the point that that Rami talked about, the whole nihilism, that eventually it leads to just moral nihilism in black pill, that you realize what is the point. Even there's a red pill term that goes around. I don't know if you guys heard it, but it's like, she's not your girl, it's just your turn.
Oh my.
Like if you pick a woman that's just on the carousel, then of course it's just your turn, bro.
Oh my god, that is
the thing
so
I don't like
disgusting.
about red pill when it comes to women is that when they talk about women, especially in the red pill movement, they don't talk about Muslim loyal women. They talk about like AOF girls and haram girls and these types of girls who are just there for money. And what happens is like, well, yeah, if you surround yourself with those types of people, then yeah, what did you expect? If you surround yourself in poison and suddenly you get sick, oh, what the hell? Like, it's obvious that because these sorts of people, they don't put themselves in a night crowd and a nice right circle, then when everything goes wrong in their own way, they're suddenly fucked, right? That's why it's so important in Islam that we have a good circle of good brothers and pious wives and stuff, especially because there's a hadith from the Prophet ﷺ where it talks about if you have friends, like it's something along the lines like if you have a blacksmith as your friend, you're gonna end up smelling like dirty and like a coal. Or if you have a friend who sells musks and perfumes, you're gonna smell better at them. The direct understanding from this hadith is that, okay, so if you have a bad friend, even though you might not necessarily be in the mines or working in with coal and stuff, you're gonna still end up smelling bad or taking bad parts of them. Same with if you have a lot of good friends, you're gonna eventually then have those good elements of them. So when these red pill people, when these red pill people with these red pill ideologies surround themselves with these sorts of bad women, and like we said, bad women are for bad men and good women are for good men, right? So when they surround themselves with these bad people and then they start coping about how there's no good females around them, at the end of the day, it's low-key your fault for trying to go after these sorts of females.
It's high-key, bro. It's high-key your fault. And to add on to your beautiful point there, bro, I'm going to compare that with STDs, because in the whole casual sex scene, you're putting yourself with women that are in environments where STDs and HIV and AIDS and all that are rampant. So you might not be directly having it yourself, and your casual partner might not be having that herself, just like the blacksmith analogy, but she is definitely in environments where there's going to be sexual immorality, whether it be same sex or promiscuity or whatever, and because of that she's more likely to have that. And you're just in these environments, in nightclubs, and they found the proportion of just I forgot what study this concluded, but the amount of AIDS and disease, your chances when you go to a nightclub are so much higher, bro. And you just being part of this casual party life that a lot of red pill promoters preach on, you'll be so much more susceptible to these diseases. Whereas if you have marriage, even if you have 4 wives, everyone's clean, everyone's happy, and there's no STDs. The whole AIDS pandemic, when you study that, like, look into it. I know we're going to get canceled by YouTube for saying why, but it wasn't caused by a man and a woman having permissible intimacy under the eyes of Allah. I'll just leave it at that.
And if you're a Muslim, you shouldn't even be focusing in like these specific, like, what do you call college girl, like women in the first place. Like, well, you want to marry a Muslim, like halal person, like, that grew up well, like, so why do you even care in the first place? That's like watching football when you don't even like football in the first place.
Yeah. 100%.
Assalamu alaikum. So let me jump in. I got something that I want to say.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, bro. Can we see your beautiful Noor and your beard, bro?
Sure, bro.
Jazakallah khair, bro.
I am driving right now, so bear with
Alhamdulillah.
again.
Sundays are for side quests, bro. I got you.
Alhamdulillah. So if I cut off something, what happened?
I said this place is filling
Should
up.
I-
There's like
Would you like me to like vet them
11.
actually? Like I'll put them in order and then they
Let's
can slowly like
anyone who already got a chance to speak, let's just bring them down for at least for now, and then anyone who didn't, I want to prioritize people who disagree with us, inshallah. So first, let me ask everyone here: is there anyone here who disagrees with something that has been said?
This guy, bro. I was about to say something.
I'm sorry.
So I just joined. What are the main points?
Well, we're just okay. We'll save you for after. Okay.
I know, go in, bro.
There is this thing that a lot of Muslims need to not forget when disregarding the red pill, and that is that although the game has changed, the players remain the same. So men are still men, women are still women, regardless of Islam being the guiding factor for them. So with that being said, as men, as Muslim men, we should be really looking for role models in this day and age, or men who have already gone through these things, who've gone through these experiences, and can give that nasiha, that advice to navigate these situations. Because there's a lot of men, let's be honest, who say, oh yeah, let's disregard the red pill. But then they get into the marriages. And then when they get into the marriages, it all falls apart because they don't know how to hold frame. They don't know how to handle a woman. They don't know emotions. They don't know how to handle all these things because it's all new, let's be honest. And they want to throw away the concept of hypergamy, which, okay, we can throw it away, but we still have to understand that a woman is a woman and she's always going to be different than us in how she feels, how she thinks, how she acts. So I just wanted to bring that up because if we're throwing away the red pill, we should still understand that even though the game has changed, the players remain the same, and we still have to play accordingly.
Yeah, that's beautiful, bro. Excellent. Allah Mubarak. Because we should never stop our quest for seeking knowledge from legitimate sources of like female psychology and stuff like that. But we do got to be careful where we take this knowledge from. So that was an excellent point. And a lot of the shuyukh today, unfortunately, they're very out of touch with modern women and some of the problems that they go through, and because of that, how they behave in marriages and relationships. So I saw this video from two very famous sheikhs. I'm not gonna say the name now because I don't want no bad blood on me, but they're these very notable sheikhs. Think of the most notable sheikhs you can think of. I don't know how much more obvious I can make it. And they were in this call-in show, and this man asked, Sheikh, I found that my wife is speaking to her ex-boyfriend. What should I do? This is not ex-husband, which even in that sense, he would have to deal with you and not speak to her if there's anything important. But, I think me and Rami talked about this once, but this was something where it's an ex-boyfriend that you were committing zina with in the past. And these two sheikhs, their advice was, Akhi, don't get mad at her. Don't do anything. You don't know what she's been through. You don't know the reason. You don't. And this is something she was hiding from him. It's not like she told him eventually, like, oh, this is why. He found this on his own after she was misbehaving with him for like a week or something like that. So it's like, really, you're gonna follow that advice? I mean, if you want to, be my guest. And these sheikhs mean the best, bro. I'm not denying it's not up to me to judge their intention, but they're just simply out of touch with these things, bro. Can you even imagine Aisha radiallahu an doing something like that? No, we can't. Stuck for Allah. So we need to be in touch with today too. So I think Angel's big message on this was about the deeper understanding about red pill. And it's not just discarding everything in red pill, but the main message of red pill was to essentially establish some understanding of female nature, something that feminism got wrong because feminism thinks men and women are the same. Red pill at least tells you that men and women are different. In terms of how they're different, know where you got the knowledge from.
All right, so let me first, Tamim, I don't know. Oh, wait.
You're muted, bro.
Yeah, my bad. Tamim, I don't know if you can hear me or not. Find anyone who disagrees and with anything that has been said, and please bring them up, inshallah. The guests in here, Joker, Osman, and you brothers, if any of you disagree, let me know. If not, then I would ask you please just drop so we can bring on someone to actually have a discussion with. All right.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is we need to find realistic examples, because the Quran and Sunnah is perfect. This is what we should be following 100%. But when it comes to navigating these real life situations, you can apply the Quran and Sunnah, but real life situation, real life experience is going to entail different things. It's going to entail the emotional aspect and all these other things within the dynamic. And a lot of times you're either figuring it out for yourself, or you are looking to someone who has already experienced these things, and they can give you the best discernment, the best advice as to how to navigate it, based on the Quran and Sunnah, of course.
But that is the biggest issue for most people, being able to decipher what is okay and what is not okay. A lot of people, like I think one brother mentioned, that they just kind of go all in. They hear red pill and then they just go all in. They think that, okay, red pill is okay, or they liken Islam to red pill and then they just take it.
Yeah, this is why I'm saying to find realistic examples within the Muslim Ummah, who are the person who's giving you the advice, who has been through the experience, is also on the Quran and the Sunnah. Because if you take advice from someone who, let's say they're on red pill, it's like one of the brothers said, you're getting 2 truths and maybe 5 lies, and you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know which is which, because you're thinking, this is so real, like it's helping me in so many ways. But then what you don't know is that the lies are hurting you in so many ways, and you won't realize that till later on.
Yeah, 100%. Or maybe they'll
This
never
is what
realize
when
at
we-
all.
Yeah, my bad, bro. Go on. I was muted.
No worries. I was just saying, like, maybe they'll never realize at all. Because Anghel mentioned they realize later when it's too late. But some people don't even realize. They just don't know that they went wrong or where they went wrong. They don't know that they suffered in life because of it. And that's the worst part.
And there's a hadith that I want to read out. And this is something that we should do in things that are kind of doubtful matters, right? Things that, whether it be, and we all know what's halal and what's haram, but I'm talking about things where should we take knowledge from or should we not? Because you might be quite literally following an Islamic finance YouTuber telling you to invest in these things, but these investments might be haram. And you're probably like, oh, should I do it? Should I not? Is the burden of sin going to be on this YouTuber, or is it going to be on me? Where do I draw the line? So this hadith that I want to read out, it's very profound, inshallah. Okay, so the hadith says, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, that which is lawful is clear, and that which is unlawful is clear. And between the two of them are doubtful matters, about which many people do not know. Thus, he who avoids doubtful matters clears himself in regard to his religion and his honor. But he who falls into doubtful matters, as in those that indulge in them, eventually falls into that which is unlawful. Does that make sense? Like the shepherd who pastures around the sanctuary, all but grazing therein. There truly every king has a sanctuary, and truly Allah's sanctuary is his prohibitions. Truly in the body there is a morsel of flesh, which if it be whole, all of the body is whole, of which if it is diseased, all of the body is diseased. Truly it is the heart. So just want y'all to reflect on that.
Jazakallah khair, bro. Barakallah fikum. That's definitely a beautiful hadith. It just, telling us to protect ourselves, to be safe. And if you're not sure about something, take caution rather than just, being, taking your desires to lead you. A lot of people, unfortunately, they don't know, and a lot of them, unfortunately, don't care. We have issues like fatwa shopping and just trying to get someone to say something that you want, just so you could say a sheikh or someone said that it's halal, so therefore you can do it. You have to ask yourself, are you really in the right place with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That is your goal. Your goal should be, what does Allah want? And how do you find that out? The Quran, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, the scholarly consensus or opinions, and the one with the most evidence backing it, if it gets to scholarly opinion. So if it doesn't come to that, then, may Allah protect us.
And it's like when Sheikh Habla was from Australia, shout out to him, Allah Mubarak, he said that Halal and haram are kindergarten language, bro. Halal haram is like, and this is not to make the deen harder than it is for anybody, but you know, a lot of the Sahaba, a lot of the earliest scholars of Islam, they took makruh as haram, bro. They took mustahab as halal, as fard. They didn't take these things as a joke. Even I forgot which Sahaba said this, radiallahu anhu, but he said that there's gonna come a time where you will stop following the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ because it's the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And verily, we follow the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ because it is the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ.
Yeah, there was another hadith I thought was crazy. I don't remember exactly, but it mentions that there will come people who basically will say the sunnah like has basically changed. Astaghfirullah al-azim.
Really?
Yeah, I'll try and find the hadith later.
SubhanAllah.
But it was sent to me a
Yeah.
while ago from my teacher and my peers. But
Wow.
yeah, it was a lot deeper, subhanallah. So may Allah protect us. Someone, I mean, I don't want to bring the discussion here, but I mean, someone disagrees with something. He says, Rami, I don't think marrying through the government is a good idea. Scholars say it's haram. Well, maybe some scholars do, but that's not. I haven't found a firm opinion that says that. But regardless, please, come on and discuss with me. I'll probably be the only one, disagreeing with you here. But we'll see, inshallah. So if you want,
Yeah,
join the
you're on
Discord,
your own
jump
about
on.
this one.
Yeah, no worries, inshallah. I don't mind. But
Alhamdulillah.
I'm surprised, to be honest. We've had a lot of loud people in the comments, not just today, but on other streams. They're the loudest group in the world, I swear. I think they're a minority, but they're so loud, and they're always in the comments. We do a call-in show. We've been here for an hour. We've invited people time and time again to come and discuss. We have not had one of these loud people join or discuss. What was that?
I said nowhere to be found.
Yeah, like all of a sudden they're walking around with their walking stick, blind, misguided. They don't know what red pill is anymore.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's all smoke.
Alhamdulillah. At least this brother says, I'm sick, Rami, excuse me. May Allah grant you shifa and heal you. Ameen ya Rabb.
Guys, I just got home. The Wi-Fi is good. How much time do we have on the stream? Should I set up or is it khalas?
I don't think it's worth it. They're probably going to be ending soon. I don't think anyone's going to hop on anytime soon. I guess to discuss the marriage thing, because it's always a big topic. As soon as it's mentioned once, everyone has a super firm opinion on it. So one brother says it's definitely not haram as long as you have done nikah. Someone says I agree with Rami. Someone says this guy is lying on the mashayikh. I don't know if that's about the other brother or about me. But if you guys want to discuss this, because people seem a lot more firm on this discussion, please come up, inshallah.
Yeah, I think with marriage, it's one of those things that unless it's truly, truly needed, perhaps for the paperwork, perhaps for visa, whatever the case might be, that's the only time that it's a proper option, because other than this, the nikah fulfills all the roles needed for you guys to be halal.
Yeah. In terms of having what you need to be married, all you need is the nikah. You do not need to go through any institution. It could literally be a someone who's conducting the ceremony. They don't even have to really be a sheikh, as long as they know what they're doing. They don't have to be registered with the government. Nothing. They don't have to have any kind of license, marriage celebrant, and all this stuff. Anyone. I've done it before myself, actually. And then 2 male witnesses, the mahr, or at least a mahr that's agreed upon, the contract, and the wali of the woman herself, in some cases at least, and then the man. I don't think I miss anything. Literally, it's a small gathering. You can do it you're in a broom closet if you want, and then boom, it's halal. But the discussion and the reason I mentioned that, and by the way, I let me be clear. I'm not saying in every single case firmly, get the government involved and get a government marriage. I'm not saying in every single case. I'm urging the other side of caution for women who are not exactly sure or 100% confident that this marriage will go through. And you guys might think, oh, why would she get married or whatever if that's the case? But no one can ever really be 100% sure before they marry the person. That's why you do your best to vet. And then afterwards you see If it, you know, if the person is who they seem to be, or if there's something big that they were missing. And this unfortunately happens to a lot of women, and they find themselves in a position where they don't have any rights under any like governmental law because they're not registered as married to this person. So it's like they're their girlfriend and they just walk away. So she's left alone without any protection, and then child support is like freaking $400 a month or whatever. And there's no
I
liability.
got a
for the
question for
guy.
you, bro.
Yeah.
Bismillah. You remember how you said that as worshippers of Allah, we don't just worship Allah, but He has ultimate authority over our obedience.
Yeah.
That we also only obey Allah, the hukum of Allah, right?
Yeah.
And you're very firm on this.
Yes.
So if we do a Western legal marriage that can potentially, and in most cases, are leading to implications that are un-Islamic, such as wealth distribution, such as, there's a word for it, custody, child custody, and laws that inhibit Islamic fard or faraid. Is that not dangerous?
So, firstly, on the topic of child custody, this would happen regardless of whether you guys were married or not. It's just you live here, and it's not like you can't. It's not like you can tell the government that's not my child. You know, the father's unknown or whatever. It's like, so whether you're married or not, that doesn't really matter. But on the topic of wealth distribution, like a kind of no-fault divorce 50-50 thing, what the scholars actually say, and this is why if men do, you know, get in any legal marriage, they should do some kind of prenup and keep up to date with it, keep updating it and all that stuff, because it's not something that any man would really want. But at the same time, and I asked my teacher about this, what he told me is that what the scholars actually say is, since this is something that is known, when a man gets legally married, he's implicitly signing on this. If he wanted to, he could put a clause in the contract, in the Nikah contract. It's his right, literally, if he wants to. If we divorce, he could take half of my property and leave. You know, would a man do that? Probably not, but it's possible. It's actually halal for him to do that if he wanted to. So when the scholars say that a man basically is signing off on that implicitly when he does a governmental legal marriage, and I think that is good for the sisters who are at risk. I think that's horrible when there's a malicious sister who, and I've heard very recently, a very wealthy guy, may Allah, he's not a Muslim, but may Allah guide him, very, like, extremely successful guy, and a huge situation. I don't want to get into details for the, you know, on his behalf, but divorce happened, malicious woman, very clearly has kids with her, and like he's heartbroken, she's going for his money, all this stuff. It's horrid. It is disgusting. So for those women, obviously, you know, you men have to take caution and get prenups. But
I agree.
there's a lot of cases where the man gets like a second wife and then leaves. And the reason I mention that is not that the second wife is wrong, but he basically has everything he needs. You know, he has everything he needs. He has his intimacy, his woman, his whatever. And he just like leaves the woman to fend for herself. And the government in this Western society doesn't value Islam. They look at it as men and women are equal. A woman, well, she's a fully grown woman. She can take care of herself. She doesn't need you. That's not what Islam says. Islam says she actually has to have some kind of male leadership provider or protector.
Okay, so one thing, Islam says that 100%. Society says that too, but then does society really walk the walk? So society is going to say that women are independent, but then when it comes to a divorce, they're still giving the allocation of wealth as if it's a traditional marriage and she's not a breadwinner. So this is my first issue. And then what I really meant to elaborate on the haram thing is, you're signing something that goes against the hukum of Allah, because you're clearly signing something that will make it illegal for you to have polygyny. And if you do that, then it's kind of like you're now abiding by rules that are not. I find that akin to women that demand a clause in the nikah saying you cannot marry other wives or women. That's haram. Clearly.
That's different because first and foremost, it's haram to do polygyny regardless. It is haram regardless in the West. Like, sorry, not haram Islamically, but like the West. Sorry, no. Let me be clear. Like the West makes it. Let me use the right word. Illegal. Pardon me for that. But the West makes it illegal. It's not. You're not allowed to do polygyny in the West.
Where do you draw the line? Though?
Wait. Regardless, the West doesn't allow it. We don't care what the West wants or doesn't want or whatever. You could do it. All you need is basically the things I said before. You could do that times 4, have 4 wives. The government won't see them as wives. Most people can't take that route. But
and we're not advocating this, by the way, to go against the law.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then the point on the signing off on rights. There's a difference between the woman saying he can't get other wives and a man saying I won't get another wife.
Yeah.
And putting that in the contract, by the way, doesn't really matter. It's only like valid in one madhab, I think the Hanafi madhab. And if he does get another wife, all she could do is divorce him. So like, there's nothing going there. But a man who signs that and says, I will give 50% of my wealth is liable because it's his wealth. And he is saying, I will do that. He's signing off on the contract to say that he will give that to her as like an asset or whatever. So that's why it's different. And also, let me say, lots of loud people in the comment. Adam, I see you, and I'm calling you out, Adam. I'm calling you out, Adam. Bring yourself on this panel and come discuss with me. Don't be pusillanimous in the comment section. Come up.
Let me address your point, bro. Let me respond to that. I'll be even more specific, all right?
Wait, sorry, I was wrong. It's a Hanbali madhab, someone said.
A man is going to be perfectly practicing polygyny in the West. He gets legally married to one of them, and he has a shara'i marriage with the other 3. In the eyes of the Western law, if the first legally married wife wants to divorce on the grounds of adultery, which we know in the eyes of Allah it's not adultery, it's permissible and she gets half his stuff. In the eyes of Allah, he's been fulfilling all of their rights. Do you not see how that's problematic, you signing on to that?
Yeah, in a case where someone's doing, and I've said this, I think in the last stream, in a case where someone's doing polygyny, don't get legally married. It doesn't make sense. But for most people won't. I'm talking to like the majority of people. Most people won't, and most women, they do have some kind of, I don't want to say most women, but there are enough women out there for it to matter who have a worry that their man will leave them, forsake them. They won't have any protection or anything. They're going to be left alone in a society where they are basically told you have to fend for yourself. And I spoke to my teacher about this as well. I don't want to quote him because he kind of just said it on the phone. I don't know if there was real time to like sit and make any kind of fatwa, but at the very least, there is, if not the main issue, the main concern, one of the major concerns is that right of the woman, and that the woman should be protected. I think that for the women that are left unprotected, it is enough of a stress on our ummah, on our community, that we should push this onto men, at least to have the knowledge of it, at the very least, to protect the women who have been forsaken like this.
Okay, so when you say that women will need governmental state backing, insurance, so to speak,
I'm sorry. Let me take one comment. Noah, listen, I don't know.
Noah, come through, bro.
I don't know who you are. He said I kicked him out before. Come on this. I will let you up right now. What's your Discord name? I'll bring you up right now. Okay, sorry. Go on.
Also, yeah. So, damn, bro, you made me completely forget my point. Let me think. Okay, so you're saying that women who prefer to have governmental state backing do this. Cool. But at the end of the day, if somebody wants to do something haram, no matter what you do, they're going to insist and conduct that haram no matter what. Islamically, a woman should not need the state. A woman, if done dirty by her husband and he doesn't do it, whatever, Allah will deal with him. But she has to go back to her father and to her family. And they need to provide and protect for her. Do you get what I mean?
Not in every case. In an Islamic state, she has the state. If she has no one to take care of her, the state will have to accommodate some way to take care of her, either arrange for her to get married or something, like they or they themselves would have to protect in some way. That's why Umar radiallahu anhu, or part of the reason he introduced the child benefits. So when you have a child, the government will give you, the state will give you some kind of money to help, and so on and so forth. And the West tried to reproduce this, but not in the manner that Muslims did. It wasn't to the degree.
Gotcha.
So I guess side note, the reason is because as the child gets older in the West, they give you less. But under Islamic law, they gave you more up until I think hit puberty or something, or the child hit puberty. But regardless, yeah, the woman would go back to her family or whatever. But like, what about taking care of the kids? It's still fully the responsibility of the man. But child support is like $400. So I'm not saying that therefore someone should take half the wealth or something crazy like that. But there should be some kind of fair determinant There should be some kind of fair determinant in which she has X amount of money to take care of the kids for X amount of time, because child support's not going to be enough. Like, these are nuances that need to be discussed. And this is not a firm 100% in every case that I'm saying. The problem is, a lot of people, I'm not saying this about you guys, but a lot of people on the other end are giving a firm never do it. So I'm combating that garbage and saying that's not right. There are women who do need it because they are forsaken and left without their Islamic right. So if you really care about Islam and Islamic rights, this is something you, like, I honestly think you should have the same position as me. It depends on the case and the scenario. And
I'm with
right,
you on that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna prescribe it and recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, I said many times, this is not for everyone. I started the whole discussion by saying I'm not saying this is the firm rule for everyone.
Yeah, I saw a video of, well, first of all, it's very easy to misinterpret what you're saying, even though that's clearly what you're making unequivocally like known now, that you're not just saying everyone go get a legal marriage. But I remember, like, there's this video from Mahdi that I saw, and it was like Muslim promotes, like, tells everyone to do it. Maybe it was clickbait, maybe it was an Allahu Alam. But a lot of people have this notion that it shouldn't be promoted to everyone. And I'm glad that you agree with this, that it should not be something that you're saying is recommended to everyone in the West, but you're saying it's very nuanced. And I'm with that, bro. I don't think everyone should say never get it. And I'm definitely not going to say everyone do get it, but do your own research, and everything should be on a case-by-case basis, bro.
Yeah, I agree. But there is always a general kind of state for people. And the general state is that most will be monogamous. And most actually will end up in a government marriage. I know a lot of young guys talk, I'm not going to do this. Try and marry a woman without a governmental marriage. See if a woman would actually do that to herself. Most women won't. And you'll see this for yourself. Either of you are married or trying to get married, try. You'll see it. But regardless, also you guys who disagree with me, whether I'm not talking to you two, but anyone who disagrees with me, you have to look at it from my perspective. There's a huge pushback from red pillars and other people who are saying, don't do it. You shouldn't do it. It's haram. I've never actually heard a scholar say it's haram, by the way, but there are people who actually say, scholars say it's haram. So there's a pushback against basically this one thing that might actually protect the rights of some of the sisters out there. So I have to take a firm stance against that as well. So if I say something like no, in cases it should be done, people might take that as me having a firm stance saying it should always be done. I've made it clear many, many times in the last discussion with Abu American and in this discussion here that it's not something that is unequivocally always going to be done in every single case.
Got you. So you know how you said that a lot of men in general today in the West, they're monogamous. So if a man does think he wants monogamy, right? And then he gets a legal marriage with a woman and gets a nikah and everything's good.
Yeah.
But then after that, you can't get a second wife without having one, right? So after the first wife, you decide you want to have a second wife. Allah makes it permissible, but now you can't. And because of this, you slip into sexual immorality. There's more dysfunction in the society. What do you think about that?
Whoa. Okay, that last part was just such a crazy add-on. It's like
got you. So what I mean by that is because you are trying to get a second wife, perhaps it'll help you, lower your gaze. It'll prevent zina. And zina is something that will destroy society inevitably. So I'm not talking about the entire society collapses. I'm talking about your short-term actions in things that are in the circle of your control.
I still don't see the correlation towards the zina stuff at the end. But like, regardless, to answer your question, if a man is going to be polygynous, and he's in a legal marriage with a woman, he just has to get the woman on board. Yeah, could she use this later to say, I want to divorce him because he cheated on me or whatever? Yeah, she could. But there are many other things that she could. She could say, he's abusive, he's whatever. If she's gonna forsake your right and go against Allah, she could say anything. He's abusive. He's emotionally this, that, the other, and like there are unfortunately ways around it if she wanted to, and that's why like it's realistic for some brothers to be worried about some women. Absolutely. But the whole thing about like, you do legal marriage and then you want polygyny and now you can't, that's not true. You can still, but that is something that your wife can try and use against you if she decides to divorce you for whatever reason. So you just have to make sure that like she's on board, she's okay with it, and she has your consent. I don't know how it works legally, if she can write somewhere in like a prenup or something like that, like she's okay with it and sign off on it, get like an affidavit or whatever. I don't know. You can look into that. But then the jump to now you commit zina, that's like no one's really to blame for zina. other than the people who engage in it and anyone who makes it hard to have halal. You have halal in your marriage, unless you have marital issues. That's different. But if you have a halal marriage where you can be intimate with your wife and all that stuff, then zina, I'm sorry, if you commit zina, you are a, I don't want to say the word because it's going to get demonstrated. You're a moron. You're an idiot. You are mentally regressed if you commit zina while you're married and can be intimate with your wife.
Yeah, I see your point, bro. It's just a lot of the times in these things, women do tend to get emotional and they will use things, and it blurs the line between halal and haram, but not only that, but illegal and legal. So a woman might say, you know what, he's this, I'm gonna divorce, and they'll use that against you if you have another wife in halal, and they'll say that, oh, it's adultery, and like the state will agree with that. So I think I agree with you in the sense that as far as it goes to be careful and vet people correctly, that's so we're not advising, none of us three are advising against vetting incorrectly. So women should not use, okay, you know what, because I'm gonna get state backing, I don't have to vet the guy. If anything happens, I'll be taken care of. Let me just marry anyone. So none of us are saying that and promoting that we should just marry anyone willy-nilly. We should do our best in vetting, but then definitely pray istikhara and do everything correctly before you do things legally. And in the eyes of the law, I'm not promoting people to not get legally married, just to make that clear.
All right, Jazakallah khair. We have a super chat. Salam brothers. Do I have the right for intiqam? And how far can I go if someone hurt someone of my family? And can I give sadaqah to everyone? I don't know. I think this is clearly like a fiqh question, and it's very intricate as well. So I think you should ask a scholar. I can't answer this. Can you guys answer? Yeah, I think you need to go to a scholar, bro. Sorry, I wish I could help more, but this is not my field. May Allah bless you though. But for the people asking, how do I join? Discord, call-in show, waiting room. But I'm look at all these names. Every single one of these people were here before. Every single one of them, and they didn't disagree, so we didn't bring them on the show. So all you guys who are really big, talking in the comments, using all these terms and these insults and these names and these whatevers, bring yourself up here so we can discuss. Unless you are,
yeah, Noah especially, bro. He said that you kicked him out of the chat, but this man's nowhere to be found, bro.
Yeah, let's any one of you guys, Supi, I can't see your names, but CB, Al Haytham, Osman, Tamim, my mods. If any of you saw a Noah who I kicked out for whatever reason, please come and speak against me.
Come on, man. Noah, what you doing? You're gonna talk the talk. You gotta walk the walk.
This is so
and
fun,
feel
man.
free. Like none of us will like even me and Rami. Like we can agree and we can disagree on things. This is what do these libtards call it? A safe space. This is a safe space, boys. Like no one's gonna get on you for wanting to disagree with us, even if it's live. Obviously, you should be respectful. You shouldn't be getting heated. It should not be cursing or anything like that. No foul speech, but if you guys are respectful, then of course disagree with us. At the end of the day, if you produce your evidence, something that is clearly in line with Quran and Sunnah, and something we're saying is incorrect, please correct us. Like we want that, 100%. And you will be rewarded, inshallah.
100%. The only thing I will make fun of is when you're in the comments talking big and you won't come up here. That's the only thing I'm gonna make fun of. Anything else, I promise. Like we'll be chill, inshallah.
Yeah, don't be a keyboard warrior.
May Allah bless you guys. I'm just joking, by the way. Like I'm just
Anghel, what are your thoughts on all this, bro?
I was gonna say that in regards to what you were saying earlier in the stream about man doing polygyny because of the whole lustful, what the hell is this? Lustful thing, control his lust, his desires, and so he doesn't commit zina. I think that's a poor excuse.
According to who?
According to myself, bro.
Okay.
You're gonna say you can't control your own sexual desires. You have a woman that you can have halal intimacy with, and now you're telling me that you can't control your sexual desires and you need to get a second woman because of this reason. I think that's a weak reason. It's like looking at the man who, bro, he has no woman. He has no wife. He has no halal intimacy outlet. What about him? What's he gonna do? You see what I'm saying? So it's like now that you have the halal intimacy outlet, and now you're saying that, oh, well, my sexual desires are too much, bro. I think that's a very weak excuse,
Mm-hmm.
albeit still being valid and permissible, right? The man can still do that. Personally, I see that as a weakened excuse.
Yeah, and
Very weak excuse.
And let me just
Barakallah
quickly say,
feekum, bro.
let me just quickly say that, listen, if you want to do polygyny, amazing. May Allah bless you. Go for it. Just don't use a stupid excuse. Just say, I want multiple women, multiple families. I want to take care of multiple women. You know, I want to have multiple women, and I want to take care of them, and I want to fulfill their responsibility and have them fulfill their responsibilities and my rights, and that's just do it. Let people cry about it. Who cares? But don't try and, oh well, you know, like I'm just so lustful, and like shut up. Just freaking do it if you want, bro. It's okay.
The guy Alex Hormozy, he had made this video where he was saying, when someone asks you why, it's almost a direct attack on what you are doing, because if they say how, if they say where, if they say when, you can answer those very, very quickly and very factually. Whereas when someone says why, it's like you have to defend what you are saying now. If someone wants to do polygyny, why? Because I want to do it. I'm not saying I want to do it. I'm just saying that that's what someone wants to do. Okay, khalas.
Yeah.
But to try to give an excuse or a specific reason, no point.
By the way,
I agree with that.
I'm so sorry, Fayed. I know you want to talk, but quickly, Tamim said Noah is nowhere to be found, for the record.
Noah to be found. All right, now back to it. Seriously important PSA, fellas. Stop. And I know a lot of men do this today. I don't understand why, but I've seen a lot of men. Anytime they, stuff hits the fan, they're arguing, like long 5-hour argument. They're like, I'm gonna marry a second wife now. Like I've seen this, and they'll say it, but like, do you realize if you just say it without doing it, and you keep doing this over time, it's just, what are you doing, bro? If you're gonna do it, do it. If you're trying to advise your wife, that's a different thing. But if you're using it as almost like a threat, like, oh, like I'm this close to getting a second wife. Oh, I'm gonna get a second wife.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like, bro, as a man, that's weak. And then you're also women don't respect that, because if you want to get a second wife, you will. Yeah. It's permissible. But if you just keep talking about it, it's not. And then you keep not doing it. Over time, your woman's gonna be like, okay, like he's saying it, but he's not doing it. Yeah. So you're not congruent with your words anymore, with your actions.
Yeah, that's an amazing.
And just make sure.
Go on.
Yeah, and just make sure that if you're going to go down the route of polygyny, that your first wife, the one you're about to get married to, you let her know, and she's in complete alignment and agreement. Because I feel that it would be very traumatic for the woman if just out of nowhere you never talked about polygyny, and then out of nowhere you bring on wife number 2.
Yeah, that's an amazing point, bro. Both of you guys made amazing points. And just to add on, it's even more important today, because most women are being taught that they should be monogamous, monogamy is good, that polygyny is horrible. So it's almost, and this is not a fard, I'm not saying it's fard, but so, don't take my words like that, but it's almost a necessity that you have to discuss it before you get married. So anytime I speak to anyone and they're getting married, I tell them, make sure you get these things out of the way. What kind of life you want to live, how many kids you want to have, what your goals are in life, all that stuff. And if polygyny is an option or not, at least get on the same page, discuss it beforehand. Also, there was one question before I think is very important. If you do polygyny, do you need to buy 2 houses or 1 big house is okay? So if the women are okay, if your wives are okay living in the same place, that's cool. But they each have a right to their own separate space. So separate room and kitchen and all that stuff. So it could be 1 big house that's all separated. It could be a complex with multiple different apartments. But they have that right. So you have to be able or willing to give that to them.
They have the right to their own quarters. And they also have the right to not hear the sound of you being intimate with the other wives as well. Can they forsake that right? Allahu alam, if they want to. I advise women to not forsake that right, because it's just gonna add a lot of fitna, bro, unless that's what you're signing up for.
I actually think it's a bit deeper. I think it might, and someone fact check me, please, but it actually might be like disliked or maybe even haram to listen in or something like that. I remember I was reading it recently, but don't take my word for it. I don't know for sure, but like that, it might be even more severe that you have that kind of separation.
Yeah, but no threesomes, because a lot of women are like, oh, Islam is red pill. You can have multiple wives. You can have threesomes. Bro, who said we can have threesomes? You cannot be intimate with your wives together at the same time, because to each other they still can't see each other's aura. Like not aura in the sense of like hair and all that, but they to be in the act of it. That's zina, bro.
Yeah. The aura
That's
in
haram.
front of your aura in front of the same sex is not the same as the aura in front of the other sex in every single case. So absolutely. I heard some scholars say it's allowed to sleep with both wives beside you, but not intimate. Yeah, we're not talking about like, okay, good night, sweetheart. We're not talking about that kind of sleep, man.
This turns into like a intimacy Q&A again.
I mean, if you guys have necessary questions, inshallah, that's cool. Yeah. But listen.
You remember that question I asked you, bro, off camera on the phone? And I was like, what are your views on this? This was like genuinely something like an important question.
You've asked so many important questions over the phone, but I'm at a loss here.
I have, and it was something that I was speaking to with. It was something about what we were speaking with a friend. I'm not gonna name the name now. I don't want y'all to say it, but we visited him recently in the last 1 year, and he was polygynous, and we were talking about if this would be permissible or not. If the two wives are not in physical contact with one another. What do you think about that?
I have no idea. And I
what about
refuse to comment.
Don't know, bro. I'm not a sheikh.
Yeah, these questions need to be for scholars. Like if we know them, we'll talk about them. But other than that, it's like I'll give you the same answer I give to everyone else. I don't know. I'm not a scholar, so you should ask a sheikh. But
is that it, bro? No one wants to join the call-in.
I think so. I mean, I'm gonna check one more time. All the same names. Well, firstly, may Allah bless you guys for all being here the whole time. We're not gonna bring anyone else up. So I apologize if you guys expected that, but unfortunately, Noah ran away. Everyone else is just gone. They had big mouths in the comments, and they don't want to like. We're just having a discussion, but not even bring yourself on the stream to have the discussion is a bit upsetting to me. If you're gonna be that loud in the comments, especially, and let me add this to defend myself. If you're gonna call me names, come and say it to my face and back it up, and then we could discuss it. But to put it in the comments, like you, David, and Noah, like little soy boys, and then run away, I think is more the thing you called me to you than anything else. We do have a super chat.
We almost have, Allah Mubarak, bro. We almost have 1,500 members on the Discord. Guys, let's reach the sky. Rami, how do they join the Discord?
Click the link in the description. It's just the 3 Muslims channel on Discord. Just join.
And what are some other features and rooms and servers that we have in that, bro?
Oh, we have a lot. I mean, let me go through them right here. So other than the call-in show, you have the general community. You have the Quran 24/7. You have, I think most things go on in the general chat, but we do have a lot more counseling, mod applications, all that stuff. So do join, inshallah, and help us build it as well. If you want to contribute, bring yourself on, inshallah, and help us expand. We're looking for more mods and team members to help make it as resourceful as possible. We have Mr. Speed's $5 donation. May Allah bless you. So when his brother Rumzi from Dawa over Dunya coming to the podcast here, I feel if the 3 Muslims was called the 4 Muslims, Rumzi would fit in perfectly. I think he's more of a one-man show, to be honest. May Allah bless him. He does a lot of debates and stuff, and just like Sheikh Uthman and a lot of other da'is, they're just a one-man show. I myself know that if like I'm on a panel debating with other people, unless the person's like 20 times better than me, I just want to keep talking, and I feel like he is the same. So I told him I'd love to host one of his debates on here one day. We can organize him versus a Christian or an atheist or whatever. I think that'd be amazing. Or if he wants to come on and give like dawah tips or anything, we can organize that as well, inshallah, one day.
Yeah, the question that I want to bring up for the viewers is it difficult for you guys to be able to get on Discord, to be able to come on to the call-in show, or is it fairly simple and straightforward? Because we want to figure out the most simple, effective, and straightforward method in order to do a call-in show element like this, to where you guys can hop on very easily.
Yeah, so we got another super chat, bro. You want to address that?
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. And let us know in the comments on his questions, either the live chat or the actual comments in the videos. Feel free to DM us as well. So the super chat says, brothers, thank you. Could you please explain Sadaqah to me in detail if possible? Thank you. Well, Sadaqah is just giving in charity. Charity could be in money, it could be in food, in sustenance, it could be in even half a day, as the Prophet ﷺ said. But it's just any charity you give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to those who need. I think for an in-depth explanation to learn maybe like the fiqh of it or any of the rulings behind it or anything like that, it's going to take more of like a full course, and that's beyond what I personally can give you. But what do you guys have to add?
It could also be a smile. It could also be a gesture or your presence, things like this.
Absolutely, 100%. I believe there was a hadith that said something along the lines of a smile is.
Man, this
is
Discord's
form of
popped,
sadaqah.
bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Bro, we got the Brothers Center, we got the Sisters Center, we got counseling, we got Nasiha, we got reverts, different channels too. So, inshallah, you guys want to join that.
All right, sounds good. I think
Habibi, I think that's it for today.
yeah, I think that's probably all. So any final words before we end off?
Yes, bro. Oh, we got one super chat, but before we do that, my final word is gonna be this for today. I want y'all to note that Sadaqah is something that should not be delayed for when you have more money or you're rich or you made it or anything like that. Because simply put, it can be a percentage of your means, even if they're low today. So just trying to give regular sadaqah, as the Prophet ﷺ mentions that the best of deeds are those that are consistent, even if they're small. So even if you don't donate some big amount or whatever, and it's something like $1 a day or like $5 a week every single Friday or something like that, because it's a blessed day, continue this, get on this, make it a habit. It's not fard, but it's not only about fard and what's haram. It should also be, how do we do something that will be more pleasing to Allah, and how do we leave something that will be less pleasing to Allah, even if they're both permissible. So if you can give sadaqah every single day or week, just regularly, even if it's a small amount, understand that they will weigh heavy on the scales on the day of judgment. And that's what we're trying to go for, not just, oh, I'm going to have $5 less on, buying whatever dunya.
Yeah.
So tell me if you guys agree with this. But when we give sadaqah and you give an amount that's, it almost hurts you to give, not because it's a lot, but perhaps you just don't have that money at the moment to give, and you're going to give it because, well, it's for the sake of Allah, so you're doing it for Allah. But a part of you almost doesn't want to let go of that money. I feel those times, when we do sadaqah in those times, that's when it's most effective. That's when it's most rewarding.
Inshallah, bro.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Because we know just through, we're not making qiyas here or anything like that, but anytime you want to do a sin and you end up not doing the sin, you get more rewards. So in the same way that if you feel more proclivity towards or against giving sadaqah and then you just do it anyway for the sake of Allah, it would make sense that you would be more rewarded. At least you're telling yourself that you're doing something that's more difficult regardless, and that will bring you close to Allah, inshallah.
Inshallah. I guess last thing I want to address is this David Hater person. Literally his last name is Hater, but with a Y. He says, I guess mockingly, praise Allah and also give me your money. The money, the sadaqah, goes to the poor, the people who are poor. When you walk in the streets of America, you see people living under bridges and stuff. Yeah, in Islam, we actually take care of them. Imagine 2.5 to 3%.
I think he was trying to make a jab at us because we're taking super chats.
I mean, we're not forcing super chats. I mean, like I'm taking his comment. He didn't send any money, but regardless, this is something actually that the church did once upon a time. So if you have a problem with it, maybe go read Martin Luther and see what he wrote about indulgences and all that stuff. But it's not a problem we have, alhamdulillah.
So Mr. Speed, Jazakallah khair for the 5. So Sneako accepted Islam and Young Don changed his views on Isa alayhi salam. Would you consider inviting Sneako and Young Don back here?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I've invited Sneako. Inshallah, we want to do a in-person podcast with him. Young Don, I would love to as well. I've invited him for both, but he knows he's invited. Inshallah, and anytime he has my contact, he can hop on, and Gideon as well. So make sure to nudge them, inshallah, to come have a nice discussion with us, gently.
Yeah, perhaps when we talk with Sneako in person, it might actually become more of a reality to get Young Don on again.
Inshallah. Inshallah. That'd be very nice. That'd be very nice.
Inshallah.
Yeah. But
Well, my brothers, let's end it. Let's end the stream now.
all right.
Inshallah.
With that being said, Allahumma atina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhab an-nar. Inshallah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.